Hey everyone, Alex the Oilers fan here, and welcome to my first ever trade video that I'll be doing for this channel. So, we have a couple of trades to talk about that the Edmonton Oilers made today, and there are a couple of reasons why I waited this long to talk about them. Number one, I wanted to make sure that was it for the day, and it sounds like it is, but it doesn't mean that the Oilers are done. From what I've heard and read on social media, they're not done. There's still a couple of trades they can make, but for today, right now, it looks like they're done. So I needed to wait for that to happen. But the second reason, I really needed to think about what happened and who got traded and who we get back. So the first trade that was announced, it came down at about lunchtime this afternoon, at about 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So the trade is as follows. The Oilers made two trades today. One of them a minor trade, kind of sort of minor trade, and one a massive trade that it absolutely improves the team. Okay, but here is the trade. So the first one we have, and I'm going from Elliot Friedman here because he is basically the sort of like the be all end all when it comes to trades. So, um, so the first trade that Edmonton made today came in about 7 hours ago, so about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It was earlier than that because I remember reading it at lunchtime, but this is from Friedman. So the first trade that the Oilers made was Jesse Puljujarvi gets traded to the Carolina Hurricanes in exchange for Patrick Puistola. I don't know if that's the correct last name pronunciation, but that's who they're trading for. So this is an interesting trade for a couple of reasons. Number one, it cleared up $3 million in cap space for Edmonton. Jesse Puljujarvi was on a one year deal, making $3 million. So getting him off the team frees up $3 million. That being said, it sucked to see Puljujarvi go. Puljujarvi just came in and he was so mismanaged by Edmonton since being drafted 7 years ago. For those of you who don't remember, he was drafted fourth overall in the 2016 NHL entry draft. That was the year Austin Matthews went first, Patrick Laine went second, Pierre-Luc Dubois went third. Now, the funny thing about this whole Jesse Puljujarvi situation is his mismanagement, I think, is kind of a microcosm of the circumstances surrounding his draft. Because going into that draft, the consensus 1-2-3 among all of the scouts and insiders was Matthews, Laine, Puljujarvi, 1-2-3 respectively. But then Columbus goes off the board and they take Pierre-Luc Dubois third. And everyone was kind of surprised by this, including Edmonton, because the word on Edmonton was they were either going to take a defenseman or they're going to take Matthew Tkachuk. So when Pierre-Luc Dubois gets taken by Columbus, all of a sudden everyone is going, well, hold on, Jesse Puljujarvi is available. And keep it in mind, Jesse Puljujarvi won the MVP award for the 2016 World Junior Championships when Finland won gold. And he was playing on a line with Patrick Laine and Sebastian Aho, who is in Carolina, right? So everyone was saying all of a sudden now Edmonton is going to get a great player. And it's funny how unprepared Edmonton was for that, because when they went to the podium to announce their selection of him, they mispronounced his last name. Right? So he comes to Edmonton. He does well in preseason, gets a good look for Edmonton, scores his first NHL goal in his first NHL game, and then everything goes to pot after that. He plays, I think, another 8 games, doesn't do anything, gets sent down. Comes back up the next season, plays for a bit, gets sent down. And then comes up again for another season, gets sent back down. And then at that point, Ken Holland gets hired, and no one knows what to do with him. They put him in Finland for a year, sign him to a contract. He comes back, he plays in the Canadian bubble, actually does pretty well. Comes back last year, does pretty good, gets injured. This year, nothing was going for him offensively. I think he still has 2 goals on the year, a couple of assists, but the confidence was clearly lacking offensively. But that's not to say he was bad. He had some of the best on-ice analytics of any Oilers forward. So it sucks to lose him. Now, you guys are probably wondering, now, aside from clearing up $3 million in cap space, there is another reason why Puljujarvi was traded. The management wanted to keep him. Again, analytics says he is one of Edmonton's better advanced stats forwards. So they wanted to keep him. So apparently, according to Ken Holland, he approached Puljujarvi's camp, asked if Puljujarvi wanted an extension. They said no, and that they would feel Puljujarvi would be dealing with a better start. So that's why they traded him. All right. So they traded Puljujarvi to Carolina. No salary retention, by the way. And they got a prospect back. I don't know how good he is. But then, about 3 to 4 hours later, Elliot Friedman tweets this. Hearing Edmonton and Nashville working on a Mattias Ekholm deal, talks intensifying. Then about 10 minutes later after that, he tweets, Ekholm will be going to Edmonton, not fully sure of return, but multiple picks/pieces. And then, an hour later, this is the big trade Edmonton has been needing for a while. Going to Edmonton, Mattias Ekholm and a 6th round pick. I believe the let me go to the let me get the full trade here. Okay. I have it from Nashville because I didn't. Well, you know what? I can just go to my own profile to do this. Profile links. So, the Edmonton Oilers acquired defenseman Mattias Ekholm and a 2024 6th round pick. Okay? Now, before the full details of the trade were released, the word on the street was Edmonton was giving up a picks, prospects, and a roster player. Okay. So, here's the return for Mattias Ekholm. Here's what Edmonton gave up. To Nashville. Forward, Reed Schaefer. Now, Reed Schaefer was taken in last year's draft in the first round, 32nd overall. He was not going to help Edmonton at any point in time. He was not going to help Edmonton anytime soon. I am okay with moving on from it. Edmonton is in win now. Who cares what the future is? Now is the time to win. So, Reed Schaefer, you never played a game. You're never going to play a game with us. You're a third line winger at best. Bye. A 2023, this year, 1st round pick. Makes sense. And a 2024 4th round pick. But the key piece going to Nashville, the roster player Edmonton is losing, defenseman Tyson Barrie. So, to conclude, the deal is Mattias Ekholm. Oh, and by the way, Nashville is retaining 4% of Ekholm's salary. So the Edmonton Oilers get Mattias Ekholm and the 2024 6th round pick in exchange for Tyson Barrie, Reed Schaefer, a 2023 1st, and a 2024 4th. That is a 4th round in next year's draft. On a base level, massive win for Edmonton. It's a fantastic deal. And I mentioned this on my live stream last night because I was looking at Ekholm's player card. The stats for him on a defensive aspect, fantastic. Grade A stuff. This is a great defender that Edmonton has picked up. And I'm not saying I don't like the trade. Love the trade. Love it. I'm glad we have Mattias Ekholm. He was, when Nashville was running that defensive core of Josi, Subban, Ekholm, it didn't matter who the other three guys were. You got those. Oh, and Ryan Ellis. Ryan Ellis was the fourth. You run those four guys. Who cares what your other two are? You got 30 minutes. You're running at least half a game with those four on the ice. That is an excellent top four, and Ekholm was part of that. So we're getting Ekholm back. Fantastic. He's still relatively young. He's a physical guy. He can defend. He helps transition the puck. This is an excellent move for Edmonton. It just sucks we had to give up Tyson Barrie. If this trade was made last year or the year before, I would have been okay with it. Because Tyson Barrie last year and the year before wasn't good. He was alright. He wasn't the best. This year, he's having a good season, offensively and defensively. In fact, Tyson Barrie, who is an offensive defenseman, has been one of Edmonton's better defenders this year. But, as people have correctly pointed out, this is the price you pay, right? The Maple Leafs just gave up Rasmus Sandin, one of their better young defenders, for Eric Gustafsson in the first rounder. Okay, so look, I like the trade. I really do. I'm a fan of the trade, and Ekholm is going to help this team immediately. He makes them a better defensive club just by one guy, and they're not done yet. But it sucks that we had to give up Barrie. When it was announced that the Oilers were going to give up a roster player, they said it was going to be a defenseman. So I was thinking it was either going to be Brett Kulak, which I wasn't really a fan of, or Cody Ceci, which I kind of wanted. Because, let's be honest, Ceci's not top pairing material. He's good, but this year he's really struggled in that top pairing, whereas last year he was flourishing in it, especially after Jay Woodcroft came on board. But for me personally, this is one of those trades where you want it to happen, and it had to happen, but it sucks. And, I've seen people already going, and I've already seen the reactions on Twitter. People are going, well, you wanted a big trade to happen, now you're crying about it. I'm not crying about it. This is a fantastic deal for Edmonton, and it addressed a massive need. We got Mattias Ekholm, who was being rumored to have garnered interest in Edmonton a couple weeks ago. And I remember, again, last night on the live stream, I was talking about how it would be a great ad for Edmonton. I just didn't think we'd have to give up Tyson Barrie. If we had to give up Brett Kulak or Cody Ceci, that'd be great. I would have been ecstatic with the deal. But Tyson Barrie has been Edmonton's core power play defenseman, and he's been really good this year. You never want to see a guy traded, especially a guy like Tyson Barrie, who off the ice seems like an incredible guy. But on the surface, this is a fantastic deal for Edmonton, and it's one that needed to get done. I'm not saying they're going to win the cup with this move. There's still a couple of other moves I think they need to make, especially since they've traded Puljujarvi. I think they need to bring in another top six forward, if Ken Holland's press conference yesterday is anything to be believed, that for top six forward is Evander Kane. But I think they need to make another move on the back end. And from what I've heard, it looks like they're garnering interest in Nick Jensen, and they're still very much in on Jacob Chikrin. But on the surface level, it is a fantastic, fantastic move for Edmonton. And like I said, Ekholm is going to help this team immediately. His defensive stats are fantastic. Like I said, he was on that beast of a top four in Nashville that contained Roman Josi, PK Subban, himself, and Ryan Ellis. Who cares who your bottom two guys are? You got those four running 30 minutes tonight, you're golden. So for me, it's a trade that I like. I don't like giving up Barrie, but you have to give up someone in that deal. And unfortunately, it was Barrie. And I suspect that it was one of the few players Ken Holland was actually willing to part with. But that being said, the fact that he didn't give up either Broberg or Bouchard in that deal is a massive win for Ken Holland. We've been screaming for him to make a move. This is the move. And we like it so far. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the trades. I want to hear your guys' opinions on whether you like them, whether you don't like them, what you think Ekholm's going to bring, what you don't think, whether you think the Oilers are losing and getting rid of Barrie. From what I've heard and what the buzz on around social media is, Edmonton's not done yet. They still have 3 more days to make a trade, and again, I'm hoping they get another defender or another top 6 forward. Yeah, wouldn't it be great if he gets both Ekholm and Chychrun? That'd be great. But I think he's looking at Nick Jensen, which would be great because you could put Bouchard with, like, can you imagine this? If he gets Nick Jensen, who apparently is pretty good as well, imagine this as your defensive core now. Nurse, Bouchard, Ekholm, Jensen, Kulak, Ceci. Oh, and you still have Broberg and Desharnais in the wings. That's pretty good. Anyway, guys, I want to hear you guys' thoughts on the trade. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think the Oilers overpaid. I don't think they did. Despite the fact that they give up Barrie, I don't like the fact that they give up Barrie. I don't think they overpaid. Let me know what you guys think. And, yeah, if I have any more trades, I'll tell you guys about them. So, with that said, enjoy your night. And, yeah, Oilers acquire Mattias Ekholm from the Nashville Predators. Massive trade for Edmonton, and massive W for Edmonton of a trade, and a trade that absolutely helps them immediately. I'll see you guys later.